Hey guys, welcome to our newest Let's Get Coffee podcast. I'm sitting here with my dear friend and member here at Crest Community, Paola Rodriguez, with Rodriguez Wealth Group.
Yes.
Right? Did I say that right?
Yes,
we just went over it. I was like, hold on. Is it Wealth Management or is it Wealth Group? I'm going to butcher this. No.
You are great.
We were just talking how like there's no notes in this. It's just like, just from the hip. We're having a great conversation. So where are you from?
So that's a loaded question.
Really? The first question, the most simple. Where are you from? I was born in 7 states at once.
So
what?
Here, yes. In the middle of no.
My mother had this idea to go out all the way. Where's that at? With this is really coming off to like a fun start. My apologies. Where are you from?
So I was born in Dominican Republic.
Okay, so you're from the DR.
Yeah, so I was there for 8 years.
Okay.
And then I lived in New Jersey.
Okay.
Then we moved to Florida.
And that's where the accent comes from.
I don't know where the accent comes from.
I've actually never realized you had an accent until you just said Jersey. And I go, there's a little bit of Jersey in there.
I had a lot of Jersey in me when I came to Florida. A lot of Jersey,
yeah. So how old were you when you got to Florida? I interrupted
13.
you. 13. So 5 years, enough to get the accent from Jersey.
Yeah, enough to learn English too.
Enough to learn. So you didn't know English when you came?
No.
Wow.
I knew cat and dog, and
that's amazing.
It. Yeah,
that is amazing.
It was pretty awesome. It was. So we came during the Y2K crisis. My dad had a contract, and he brought us over. And unfortunately, we moved to New Jersey. In Dominican Republic, we all talk about the United States as New York.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we got to Jersey, I was like, oh man, we're not in New York. Like I was disappointed, but I loved New Jersey. It was awesome. Yeah. It was, there's a lot of people from Latin cultures there. Yeah. And so it was like, it was very bilingual. When I got to Florida, that was really when it was like the big culture shock of like, oh my goodness, there's like, I'm different. Right?
Gotcha.
So,
what part of Florida did you land in when you first got here?
Here, Tampa.
In Tampa.
Yeah,
okay.
I went to Riverview High School.
Riverview High School.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. You and Brittany are both from that side.
Yeah.
Out east.
So when people ask me where I'm from, I'm like, I'm from Florida, right?
Yeah.
Because I grew up here. I've been here for most of my life. But
what high school did you go to?
Riverview. Yeah.
And you graduated in 08?
I graduated in 09.
09. So you and Brittany are like, she was 08. She was Brandon.
Okay.
Brandon High. So you guys.
We might have seen each other.
Like, she was cheerleader, all that stuff. Okay. And it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a cheerleader at heart.
Yeah.
But not like a real cheerleader.
Yeah. You could have been.
No.
You could have been.
I tried cheerleading for a year when I was little.
How was that?
Horrible.
Why?
The girls bullied me. I didn't get pretty till really later in life. So I was not pretty and I was like kind of chunky.
You think that?
No. I have evidence.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. So you were in high school and you were like, I'm not going to cheerlead at all.
So no, it was.
There's no way.
No.
What'd you do in high school?
I ran track and field. And
all right, so athlete. When cheerleaders are athletes too. I'm gonna get a bunch of texts that when they, what are you talking about? No. I caught that. Yeah.
Yeah, it does take a lot of.
It does.
No.
It's crazy. The flyers and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was a base, so yeah.
You were.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, but you ran track and field.
Track and field. I ran the 8, the mile, and the 4x8, and I also did cross country too.
What type of disciplines did you learn from that in high school? That has now translated into who you are today.
I love this question. It's push through the pain.
Push through the pain.
Yeah.
That's some wisdom.
Yeah.
Push through the pain.
Yeah.
Define that a little bit.
So, the first week of track, I could barely get up to my room. My room was in the 2nd floor. Mm-hmm. And after that first week, everything got kind of adjusted. Yeah. And I started, getting good. It was very uncomfortable at first. Mm-hmm. It was painful, like we were sore. But after you got the hang of it, it was coasting. Yeah. And that runner's high.
How does it translate to where you're at right now in business?
Oh man.
Push through the pain.
Through the pain. Yeah. So this is my 5th year in business. I've been doing insurance for 4, just ended my 4th year. And it is very relevant in that I grinded a lot. Mm-hmm. I literally just did Instagram post about this.
Did you?
Yes, about how I grinded and I built my book of business and I just focused for so long, and now it's time to travel and time to prioritize seeing the world. And so pushing through the pain of having to work late hours. I mean, you see me.
Yeah, we've done it. And you've done it.
You've seen me.
Yeah.
So
man. Like that time comes in like October, November. You for sure use the membership.
Yep, I sure did.
Yeah.
And now it's paying dividends, right?
Yeah,
so I
of course.
put in that time
Push
during
through the pain.
season. Yeah. And now, I just had my best month yet in February.
Congratulations.
And I was gone for 2 weeks.
Wow. That's
incredible.
awesome.
Yeah. So it's really changed my
We were
perspective.
talking about that, right? You started working on systems. I remember in the fall, you're like, oh man, I got to do this. And so you're seeing those systems obviously now pay off if you were out of leave for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So push through the pain. Translates into the business world right now very easily for you. And so you have pushed through the pain. And then what has that core principle of track in high school, right? Cross country, the 8th, right? Is that what you said? Those were the two things you're doing, right?
The 800.
The 800. And so how did that transform your thought process? How old were you when you first started that?
I was a freshman.
So 14,
yeah.
Right? And so fast forward, you go 4 years. You ran it full 4 years? Yeah? That's all pretty good?
Yeah.
That's all right, yeah.
I
State champ, right?
No, not state. No, I did break the school record for the 800.
Wow.
In my second to last race.
How'd that make you feel? You worked for 4 years.
Oh, man.
Your second to last race. Did you race in college? Did you run in college?
No.
So this was it. This is 4 years. And then you accomplished something that no one else had ever done.
Yeah. The bar wasn't super high, I will say.
No. We're not going to go there. But you did something. How did you feel when you said, I've worked this long and I've done this? Describe that feeling in 3 words or less.
It was incredible.
Great job.
So the
counted 1, 2, 3. Oh, you did it.
It was funny because we had me and a friend of mine had been writing like in high school you do signs and you do bubble letters and stuff, and I was actually writing out like I will break the 800 record. And for 4 years I was writing that down. And
that was a goal you set out to do.
Yes.
So you what was the behind the scenes process of setting that record?
So
so you wrote it down. That's one.
I wrote it
What
down.
else did you do?
I mean, went to practice. We ran, I at least ran at 3 to 5 miles a day.
Okay.
On the weekdays.
So 5 days a week.
Yeah.
For 4 years.
In season. Yeah. And then we did some off season work and stuff. And, but yeah, we just followed what our track coach said. We, put our all into it. But it that day, my coach was like, I didn't recognize you out there on the track. Like it was like I turned like a switch and I was just determined and I flew.
You had a mindset.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't actually know what happened.
It was
so long ago.
Yeah.
But it was probably that this would have been my last race ever. Right. So that it was like all culminating into this one, epic moment.
You realize this is it. I have to leave it all on the field.
Exactly. This is district senior year, leave it all on the field. And, I did it. I placed. I was able to go to regionals the next week. But regionals was it.
So that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
So it was incredible having that experience. And so you wrote it down and then you practiced consistently.
Yeah.
Right. And then how frequently were you actually reviewing it or writing it down?
Whenever we got bored, it was probably like every week.
So once a week you were writing this down. And so it was constantly in the back of your mind, I'm going to beat this record.
Yeah. And we would, I think I put one of the signs in my binder, like in the cover of my binder and stuff. Like
there's science behind this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You were doing something principally that so many people can actually, writing a goal down and then reviewing it and building steps to get there. That's what my last chat was on.
Yeah.
Right. Was that right?
Nice.
And that's how you get to impossible record breaking things that you never thought you'd ever be able to do.
And it's being intentional is really what it is.
Yeah. Intentionality. So then fast forward, you go to college. And I know a little bit about, you were very active in college, right?
yeah.
So what did you do in college that just like that you learned that you took that whole, push through the pain, write things down, process all that fundamental thing subconsciously as a kid that you were experiencing? How did you segue that into college?
Well, so college was a time to learn about who I was, to really discover myself. I was raised Catholic, like really strict, and my parents really were put us really on the straight and narrow. And so when I went to college, I really learned about like true self discipline, because really, when I was in school, like my parents made me do all the things, right?
Yeah.
So I learned like true self discipline, and I got after it. I there was nothing in my mind that was like I can't do a certain thing. I don't know if it was, I think it was that I was in a program where I was with other kids that were in Ivy League schools. Like there was a program, we were selected, and we went to other schools. I never applied to a really high caliber school. I had fear of failure, fear that I wasn't going to get in. And I was like,
paralyzing, right?
Might as well not even try, and why spend the money, right? Because for the application and things like that. And so I think it was the fact that I felt like I was in a room full of other high achieving people, and I was just like getting after it. And I just went after all the things that I could, and I at the highest level. And there was no there's no more fear, because I was, just, I just felt like in my element. I loved college. College was like amazing.
What school did you go to?
University of Florida.
UF. Go Gators.
Go
there
Gators.
we go.
Go Gators, yes. So in college, I was involved in the Hispanic Student Association and Hispanic Heritage Month. And and I was in, I did case competitions for the University of Florida, the business school. We went to Indiana. We went to Pamplona, Spain. Those were the 2 case studies I was selected to go on.
And what'd you major? You majored in business? Or?
I majored in, business administration.
Okay.
I had a major in marketing and a minor in entrepreneurship. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, just learning myself is really what I learned in college, to answer your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just finding out your own voicing and who you are, what your standards are, what you are,
exactly.
and who you are, who you're going to be. So then you fast forward, you're now really driven in your 20s, right?
Oh, I'm actually 31.
No, I'm saying, but you were really driven in your 20s.
Oh, I was, yes.
You were very driven in your 20s,
yes.
And now you're 31. And I personally have seen you've leveled up just in the last, you were coming up on, I think we met you, it'll be a year ago in May that we met you. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, which is cool. I mean, that's coming up on, and so it's just really neat to just see the growth that you've experienced from the outside looking in, and where are you now? Do you see a distinct difference between, like being that 20-something-year-old that's just driving to now being like, okay, here I am, I'm in my prime, 30, 31.
Yeah. So in my 20s, I got a lot of comments of like, your potential. Oh, you have so much potential. Oh my God. It annoyed the mess out of me. Just because you're like, okay, well, let's get there, let's get
why
to
can't we do it now?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so what I didn't realize is that I was a little bit lost. I didn't really know where to focus my efforts. And I know I needed to create a business. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And there was a season in life where I was trying out new things. I mean, I was part of an MLM. I was a personal trainer. I got my real estate license. Like I worked for other people. I helped develop a construction business. So like I just did a lot of
You were just throwing things against the wall, right?
Yeah, I just did a lot of different things.
By the way, that's okay. That's literally the start.
Yeah, no.
Just throw these things against the wall and see what I love that sticks.
Right? And honestly, I was drawn to insurance, and I'm so glad that like financial services was where I landed, because it's just it's been something that has kind of always been in my life. from seeing my dad and how he managed his finances and the life he's been able to build for us, for our family, has been awesome. And it's a true blessing to be in a position to where now I can be a tool for people to achieve that same success. So I'm happy where I'm at. In my 20s, I was just kind of either working for other people or just being an agent. And now I have a team of 2 staff members that support me, virtual assistants that support me. And then I have some agents that are contracted under me that I'm training and taking them through a process in order for them to create the same success that I've had. So it's cool. I feel like I'm like a catalyst for helping people like help themselves. So it's instead of me like doing things for people, I'm helping them along the way to create their success and whatever that looks like for them. So it's amazing. I'm living the dream right now, Jeremy.
That's awesome. So what are some of the greatest challenges you're experiencing as a young entrepreneur, a young woman in the workforce, going from solopreneuring to entrepreneuring, right? Having a team now. Like what are some of the key challenges? Like just I like 3. So like what are the top 3 challenges you're experiencing right now?
So number 1 is being intentional and like walking with purpose and really prioritizing my time. Yeah. So there can be days where like life just kind of gets in the way and this happens and the other thing happens, but really making sure that you're making the most out of that day and focusing on what's actually important, because it's really easy to stay busy, but it's harder to actually do the things that are gonna push your business forward, right? Yep. And so being intentional, staying kind of in control of my time is a challenge. The second thing would be like feeling like an island. So really building a community around me of people that like you, that support me, that I can come to with questions. Hey, should I hire this person? Should I not? Should I invest in this or, this program or the other thing? It has been really important. So like feeling like an island. And I would say number 3 is managing my expenses. So making sure
the balance sheet.
Yeah. So I've been really, really intentional about that this year in making sure I stay, lean and mean and not overspend, and being strategic moving forward. I'm a very like right now type of person. So like, I'm a little bit
instant
impatient.
gratification, impulse buys, a lot of that stuff. Yeah. So it's a struggle.
So I have to, keep my eyes on the prize and control expenses. And
so the first one, I got the second one, you feel like an island. The third one was managing expenses. And the first one was being intentional with your time, identifying your productive positions versus your busy positions in life. Have you processed any systems yet to do that? Like, walk me through your system for the solution for the first problem.
So the first problem, I write down my priorities every day.
Okay, how many?
3.
3, okay.
I can't have more than 3.
You can.
Yeah, because then
that's good.
Then you don't get anything really done. Listing that, like telling my team about my priorities for the week, is important because they hold me accountable to that. And so so we have a team meeting on Tuesday, and we tell each other about what our priorities are. And then on Friday, we tell everyone about our progress. We celebrate our wins. And if I don't meet my goals, then I have to tell my entire team that I didn't do what I said I was going to do. So that is a good thing for me to.
That's good. It's good accountability, right? Yeah. And the second one, you mentioned it is very lonely as an entrepreneur.
It's hard being the one with all the answers.
Well, because you don't have all the answers.
Well,
right, but
everyone
they
look
to you like you do, right?
Yeah.
So what system or process have you begun to develop to eliminate the loneliness of entrepreneurship? And this is something that, like, is very obviously dear to my heart, people don't recognize the pain that entrepreneurs go through, right? Half the time when they're starting, the stress, your mind never shuts off, right? It's always running. and you have to grab those thoughts and put them in the waiting room, right?
Yeah, it's hard because a lot of us tend to be very
Optimistic for one.
well, optimistic.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but
It's true. But also, like, we want to do all the things, like, and we're very ADHD. Like, a lot of times, like, we see a shiny object, and I've found myself saying yes, but later, right? So, like, when it comes to things like doing ads, I've told my team, okay, let's focus on content, growing the brand, and then let's go ahead and do ads and have a timeline for that. Because we also have difficulty saying no. Like, a lot of times we're in positions where we're in sales, that's how we grow our business. And so we're being told no all the time. At least I can speak for myself, right?
Yeah.
I'm being told no all the time. And so it's hard for me to tell other people no because I don't want to be on the other end of that. So, really what I've been doing is prioritizing things, putting timelines on things that I know I need to do.
So you don't feel like an island.
Yeah. So that the bright and shiny object syndrome, so that I stay focused, but also having people around me like you and seeking out people. Sometimes like we feel lonely, but it's not. I don't want to say it's not real, but it's
subjective to our emotions.
Exactly.
Right?
It's our, no one's going to do it for us, right? We have to, be the one to pick up the phone.
It may not be the reality of the situation. It's how we feel. It's subjective and if we're not anchored, right, with a support system, with a group or somebody that we know, you can literally, if you're not anchored in the ocean and a storm comes through and your emotions are there, you're swayed left or right, and then you are just, miles off course, right? And go ahead.
And one thing that is an anchor too, is your faith, right? So knowing that you're not alone, that God's on your side, is really important. Like, before this podcast, I prayed, and I just I told God, hey, this is let me speak, say the right things, and so that's really important to do for me. And I find that a lot of people that I look up to, a lot of my mentors, they also are very firm in their faith. So I have a mentor that literally, he's like, Paola, do not even put your feet on the ground when you wake up before thanking God for your day and before I don't know the word. So my mom says encomendando, which means kind of giving God the day. Oh, man. I don't know what the word is.
Surrendering your day, releasing it, like saying, hey, take my schedule, take my life. It's yours.
I guess it's surrender. Yeah. We'll look that up later.
Sure. Yeah. So there's a lot of words for that.
Kind of offering it up, right? Just giving giving God control of your day. Just saying hey, God,
authority.
May it be as you wish.
Sure.
Right? It would be.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. It's I have my morning routines where it's something very similar, and it's you have to have those times in the morning and try to be very rigorous with that rhythm every morning.
I'm so bad at that.
Are you? Okay.
Oh my
it's a
gosh.
struggle. It's a struggle.
I crave novelty. So I want new things and you can
get the new things out of every book that you read in the morning.
Exactly. And my adventures and my travel, the things that I can get my new things from elsewhere. And that's what I keep, telling myself.
Push through the pain. The regimented schedule.
Push through the pain.
Right, is very important. Rigorous behavior is, in the morning, in my opinion, is what makes or breaks how far you're going to go with your distractions or not throughout the day.
Exactly.
And so, and it takes time though. You don't out of nowhere become a 4 a.m. riser.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
I slept in today and I got up at 5:30, and you go 5:30 and I go, how am I going to do this? All right. I got my rhythms. I got my routine. I'm still going to hit it. It's just not going to be everything that I want to do. And it's because I didn't take care of my bedtime last night, right? I stayed up way too late. And you just go, all right, well, because it's like you have to have a morning routine and a nighttime routine. Mm-hmm. And those routines, you begin to then sandwich in your daily routines and your processes. Yep. And so, I mean, this might help you. It's through so much of this stuff. I love young entrepreneurs and people that are just like getting, because it's there's so much joy that comes from learning from each other and just being able to. I mean, I've realized I've been an entrepreneur now for 15 years.
Nice.
And so, there's a lot that comes with that 15 years that you forget because you always feel like, man, I'm not growing. I would say, man, the make or break is the rigorous routine of being a disciplined person with disciplined thought and disciplined actions. And it starts with you because life only gets more complex. There's infinite outcomes and you can't control anything that's going to hit your schedule that day. So it's understanding your yeses, understanding your nos, and then niching into very key initiatives, right?
Yes.
One of the greatest struggles that we have as entrepreneurs is the shiny syndrome that you were talking about.
Goodness, yeah.
And which I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to kind of wrap through the lonely thing because it is crucial that you're having those relationships to support you in this, to realize that you're not alone, that everyone deals with these things. Everyone deals with self-doubt. Mm-hmm. I'm not equipped for this. I'm not good at this. Mm-hmm. Everyone deals with comparison. Like John Maxwell says, a comparison is the thief of all joy, right? Thinking someone else has this figured out more. And so, your rigorous routine is, like, for me, for example, is I try to wake up at 4:15 every morning. The first thing I do is I read a minimum of 10 pages in a book, and I process through it because how my brain works, I have to read a little slower to digest it. And I do that, and then that's about 30 minutes, and I wake up, I go downstairs, I lay out my mat, and I stretch for 10 minutes, and it's all through timers and calendar. So I'm reviewing, making sure I'm not, and then I'm doing that, I'm stretching, and then you go for a walk, and while I'm walking, I'm trying to stack at the same time, and so I'm reading some more. I'm reading something more spiritual, right? And I'm walking and I'm setting my focus and I'm praying and I'm looking at it and I'm up at before the birds are up, right? So I'm walking before the birds are up and all that stuff. So I'll say good morning to the birds almost every morning. It's like, oh, you guys took a little while, I've been up for a couple hours before you guys. And so you do that. And then this is just literally the rhythm that sometimes you don't realize, wow, I didn't realize people that regimented, So then I get home, I process through. Before I've done that, I've already drank a glass of water before I stretched. I've turned on my espresso machine. I get home, I dial in my espresso machine because it's a rhythm that I like to do, measure it out. That's another 10 minutes. I get a cortado, and I go out. I sit by my fire pit, turn my fire on, and now at this point in time, it's 5:45, and I'm hanging out, and I've got my book I just read. I go back over everything I've just done, and I write everything down on my Remarkable, my tablet.
Remarkable, right? That thing.
And then I jump back into the reading that I was done, the spiritual reading, and I journal from that as well. And I process through all that. At this point in time, I have 4 kids, and so my day starts at 6:45 till 9:30 at night. Everything else that I do throughout the entire day is for everyone else as a leader. So the only time I get for myself are literally those 2.5 to 3 hours for myself. And that's what people don't tell you, is that life gets more complex. Life gets more complicated, right? And you have to create linear process and systems. And you don't beat yourself up when you fail and you're like, oh, man, I woke up at 5:45 or 6. You know what I still did? I read, right? And I stretched. I made my espresso. I journaled what I did, and I did everything. I just had to condense it, right? And that just is what it is. And you go, all right, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm going to keep going. And then, literally I have this routine all the way through 9 o'clock. Because then it's we get the kids up, we get them dressed. I take them to school, 7:30. I finish that at 8. We have our morning huddle every morning at 8:15. Sometimes I'm in it, sometimes I'm not. And then from 9:30 or from 8:30 to 9, I'm capturing all my open loops. So during this time, it's what I'm doing is any thought that's coming to my mind, I'm actually writing it down and putting it in my inbox. It doesn't get a chance to even come into my mind. I'll deal with it, and then I'll review at that time. I'll set my top 3s. I'll say, this is what I'm going to do. And then I fail miserably almost every day, and I get distracted and all this stuff. But it's your rhythm that you walk through. And Matt is another guy who's like we swear by morning routines. The morning routine sets your life up.
Well, the thing is like success leaves clues, right? So a lot of really successful people, they attribute their success to that. Like I know, like Oprah and there's this guy called Hal Elrod. He wrote The Miracle Morning. And oh my goodness, he's like, Tony Robbins. He's like my Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Like he's that guy for me. And so there's a lot of power that comes from doing these rituals that will pour into you, like reading and journaling
and so much of it, like you don't realize if you could get into it now when there's not very much, because there's not like a lot of demand on your life right now.
No, I don't have kids. I don't have a wife.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you don't. There's not a whole lot of demand.
I mean,
there's demand. What I'm saying though, but I'm saying it's like if you wake up in the morning and you decide not to do something,
it'll be fine.
You're not gonna have like a kid starve to death right now,
no,
right?
No.
And like these different things where like, and you take that, you will in the future, but you take this opportunity to start building in and working through the pain, because solopreneuring is easy to ignore the lack of systems because I can just simply work through it. And if I'm a high performer, like you are, like I am, I mean, my performance, this is why it's a thief of all joy and also the thief of all purpose, is if I am a high achiever like you are and I go, I'm going to hit it like this, right? And then I'm so far ahead of everyone else because I'm comparing myself to the wrong people, then I slack and I'm not hitting my optimum performance, my full potential, right?
You have to create your own measure of success. And I didn't know this until I read The Gap and the Gain. I think Ben Hardy wrote that.
Matt has talked to me about that. I've never read it, but I think I've ordered it.
So I gave Matt, so my book upstairs, I let Matt borrow it.
No, Scott Bendel told me about it.
Scott Bendel, he's awesome. Yeah. I'm not sure how he heard about it, but it talked about like how you have to create your own measure of success.
Gap sales, right? It talks about.
That's a different book.
Yeah.
So because the Gap and the Gain talks about how you can't measure yourself against the gap, you have to measure yourself against the gain.
Oh, got it.
So because it's a positive loop of that breeds confidence, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times we measure ourselves up to where we wish we were. Right?
Oh yeah, it's living in the gap,
living in the gap, right?
You're chasing the horizon, you're never fulfilled.
Instead of seeing, look how far I've come, right? Like, look how far I've come, and using that as positive momentum to move forward into what you wanted, where you want to be. So, but it wasn't until I read that book that I was like, man, I am measuring myself against other people's standards, against, the amount of money in my bank account, against the amount of money that I've made last year.
It's affirmation. That's what you're looking for. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So, but now.
So we're all looking for, not just you, but like you as in like mankind is looking for affirmation.
Yeah. And confirmation that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Validation, really.
Being validated.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, you have to measure yourself against your own standard.
Yeah. Yeah. And how you set the standard is through community. It's through peers. It's peer on peer. It's through mentors, and it's also through menteeing. Being a mentor, right?
Yeah.
And hitting that, the stuff that I teach on is the 3 cylinders of relationships. You need to have mentors that are pouring into you. You need to have peers that are sharpening you and refining you. And then you need to have mentees that you're mentoring.
Yes.
If you don't have the 3 position running constantly throughout the seasons of your life, you're leaving a major gap for the next generation and for yourself. Because the next generation is going to expose you to do trends that your generation doesn't know about.
Yep.
So you're always learning even from the ones underneath you.
Yeah, and you are also gaining perspective too.
Yeah.
Because I know with my mentee yesterday, she came over and she brought me flowers.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my gosh. And so, there are some things that she's struggling with that I'm like, oh yeah,
I forgot what that was like.
Yeah, and going back to the basics of things. And so like, explaining to her like how I was able to overcome those things, really like brought new perspective and helped me like helped me remember, oh, I need to get back to doing this. Like,
Yeah.
right, like I was explaining my processes, and I was like, oh no, like I'm not doing this part of this process that I built. So it's helping me like reiterate and get back to the fundamentals and reiterate what's important. So it is serving me in a way, but because when you give, you get
reciprocity.
back. Yeah, when you give, you get back a
about.
lot. Yeah,
Give first.
Yeah, giving first without needing anything in return.
Yeah, it's selfless. It's the motive. The motive is I just want to help. I want to serve. Even and then the law of reciprocity is it's keeping a pure motive, but just somehow this thing just circles back through, and you go, "Wow, that's amazing." I wasn't intentionally trying to find this; it found me while I was out helping others. Somehow, others helped me.
Yes.
Right, and that's the beauty of it when you're in the right circles.
Exactly.
But so with that, like, why did you join Cress?
So I came to the open house.
Yeah.
And it seemed pretty cool. At the time, I didn't have like anywhere to office out of. I was just working from home. And I talked to you, and I was like, man, I need to be around this dude. and you kind of
There's a little bit more to that, though.
No,
it
but
wasn't me.
Yeah.
From what you told me.
It was, well, I wanted to go to a physical office.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to be around, entrepreneurs.
Didn't you meet my wife, though? And you were like, dude.
I did meet your wife.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So she was like such a beautiful, like, representation of love.
Oh, that's awesome.
And patience. And so I was like, man, this lady's a saint. I need to be around. I need to be around this energy. And
it's probably something with our kids. We're freaking out, I bet.
Yeah. Your kid was freaking out, and she just handled it with so much grace. She got up and she just because I'm not a mom yet, right? I hope to be one day, right? But I know that currently, if I am in that situation with a kid like that on my lap, I'd probably freak out, So so
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just knew that part of the story was like, It's like, oh man, I got to be around these people. There's something about this.
There's something about these people.
But you really joined because you wanted to get out of the house and you needed a place to just kind of work.
Yeah, and meet people. So it's been really cool because I can tell people to come here to meet me instead of me driving all around town. I can make
so it's a solid utility for your life. Your time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually trying to find a house. I sent you that condo that's closer to here.
Isn't that amazing?
It's awesome.
I mean, it's just like for me, it's like, dude. So now that's the second question. What have you gotten out of Cress that you actually weren't experiencing, that you weren't expecting to get out of it, but you're like, whoa, I didn't join. I joined because I just needed a space to like utility, like work and meet people more centralized to save time. But then you go, I got this out of it that was like way different, way more valuable that I would have never imagined I'd get.
I mean, so the relationships, like I knew I was going to come in and like have connections and potentially maybe do business with some people.
Just like natural networking.
Just like natural, like, but they're,
you get that a lot of places.
Yeah, usually you they don't become like a part of your life.
Okay,
right?
let's talk about it.
So like the relationships I've built here, I really feel like, are even if I, go on to have my own office, I still want to maintain these relationships. And, and I was talking about Travis, who is here, and how like I've seen us grow together in a way, and so that's been really cool to like help each other and really develop true relationships, true friendships, versus like kind of surface level.
So so you got community out of it, and real authentic relationships with people that actually care about you for you, not just your business or how to make money together.
Yeah, I honestly thought I was going to just have a space, right, to meet people or whatever. But I didn't really think, like, I was like, oh, man, I miss Cress, when I was away.
That's awesome.
I miss my people.
That's awesome.
And I was like, I should buy some coffee for Travis when I was in Honduras.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That makes me so we're working on the messaging because that's been one of the greatest hurdles, right, to get through is like, oh, you're a co-working space. I've never been in a co-working space before. Is that what this is? And then, what I'm getting, go ahead.
Yeah. No, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
Like you're about to say, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to hear it from you though.
So, I mean, the amenities, the podcasting studio, the events that you guys have, the the relationships that you're able to build. The space is pretty cool, and it also has like a good energy to it. I don't know if it has anything to do with like this was a church before, but I who knows? But this it's a really cool space. Whenever I walk people in here, they're like, this is really cool. They did a really good job with this. So
yeah, what I've been trying to learn now, and it's been working. We've been defining it differently, and I've kind of been coaching even my own teams. Like, hey, let's stop showing the space.
Oh,
like we're not showing a couch, we're not showing a pool table, we're not showing desks or tables or and how we've been saying is like, look, so what we're doing is when we're showing it, we're actually showing the community. We're saying, oh, in this room, this is where such and such did this, and this occurred, and we're realizing it's finally the messaging is engaging at a higher level. And what now it's like we basically say, because we never set out to be an office.
Yeah.
We set out to be a community, a third space.
Correct.
So the idea is we incubate, you grow, you move on to an office, you still still maintain a membership here.
Yeah.
Because this is the space that is your third space of community. As you grow and scale, that it goes, wow, this is the space that creates solutions with me, that connects me with authentic relationships, that is there with me, even beyond the need. And so it's like the brick and mortar's free. People invest in themselves through connection, social capital, accountability, trusted relationships. Like everything is like clarity and focus. You're trying to hit your optimum performance. Right, that's it. And so anything we can try to do, and it's just like, so now everything's ancillary, and that's kind of how we started describing this on these as people now. So they're 6 months old, right? We started 6 months ago, and so people are now like, and now it's the trial and error of like learning the messaging, how it translates to people, and that's how we're realizing is we need. And so we're starting with more and more questions of solutions for people instead of, oh, this is a cool couch.
Yeah, no, but
you should sign up.
That's awesome because as you tell stories, people start realizing, oh, I can do this, or like they start kind of visualizing themselves in the space if they are doing something similar to what you're describing, right? So if you're talking about the conference room being a space where someone hosts
decorated cookies, it literally happened.
No.
Yes, yeah.
So, well, I was going more along the lines of like, their monthly strategy meetings, right?
Yeah.
Hey, here, we have a few members that, have this space for once a month, and they do their strategy, meetings, for half the day, and they, really map out their success, and, and then they're like, oh man, that I can see myself doing that here. So that it's awesome that you're saying you're talking about stories instead of just like, oh, here's a space, because people could see like, oh, obviously there's a TV, like,
oh, that's a cool TV.
That's a TV, yeah.
Like, I don't have one of those in my house.
Yeah,
I think I should totally invest in this.
Like, come on. Yeah. Exactly.
No, it's true, and it just we're getting better at that. But I just love hearing. That's honestly why we're doing these podcasts, is just to, really invest in our members, get to know you all on a more intimate level, because I didn't know half the stuff we talked about today, right?
Really?
No, I didn't know the track and some of these
stuff.
other things. You learn so much, about. I didn't even know you were from, you had time in New Jersey or any of these other things, right? Yeah. So it's always fun to kind of process and have these conversations. That's why I love this medium and be able to give just immense value for entrepreneurs and for leaders, for people from startups and solopreneurs, all the way to C-level executives that just need a third space in their management teams and staff. And that's what we're doing, the retreats and the conferences and the seminars and lunch and learns. And, it's just the buildings that have this ability to support the initiatives of our members and non-members. We have several events that are coming through that are just like, hey, we need a space for this, or actually like, that's cool. That's cool. We got this great. So with that, this is the third question, my favorite question, because this one's for me. How am I failing miserably at this? Like, I just brutally honest, like, how is this just awful? Like, and where can we grow?
Why isn't this place chock full of people? Like, I feel like I feel blessed because sometimes I feel like this is my space, right? Because I'm here all the time. But it's surprising to me how we have membership, but I don't see them all the time and stuff. You're doing an amazing job. You've only been open 6 months, right? But you are taking steps already to grow the membership and everything. But that's been like I'm excited for the growth that's coming. I'm kind of sad about it because I can't keep my personal space, and I keep
Yes, you can. You have your personal space.
I do have my personal space. I do, but no, you know what I'm saying.
I know what
like
you're saying.
Sometimes you're like, oh, I could spread out, and I got this whole place to myself. So that's the only thing. I'm excited for our growth. I'm saying our.
No,
growth.
that's exactly what it is. That's the most encouraging part to me is I'm having members going like, hey, I'm going to help.
Yeah.
Primarily because now I don't know what to do with my life if this fails.
Oh.
So usually like people are like, yo, let me help, with this is our space, which is as a leader, that is the goal.
Yeah, and you have to build it right? If it's quick, it don't stick.
Yeah.
And so you're building it the right way, and it's going to take time. But I wouldn't say, like I said, you're failing miserably at it because we're so new and you have to build the right way. But I know that.
What's the fix?
Just bring.
No, I'm saying if you were in my seat, what would you do?
Find. You're doing the right thing. Interview us all and see how we found this place and see what are the characteristics and where are the mediums that we're at? Like, are we on Instagram? Are we on Facebook? Like, and how to bring more people like the people that are here? Because we have a really great core group, right?
There's 55.
Find more people like the 55, and bring them on.
Do you have anyone that you think would be a good? Because so here's one thing that we are doing. We're tightening up our initiatives. We're only onboarding 10 members a month.
Oh.
And then everyone else goes on a waiting list.
Okay.
And we're getting very rigorous with that behavior and that process, so that we don't blow the wheels off of it. Right? You get inundated with 100 members in a month.
Yeah.
It changes everything. And so what I've been really focusing on is identifying and developing the culture to where we're actually creating great solutions for our current members and activating that process of communication, connecting the glue, moving pieces around how we need to, realizing what our key initiative is for the greatest pain point right now, and finding lost leads, finding these different things, and just identifying the core of who we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm working on,
important.
but that's why I really need an honest answer to this. That last question was, what am I missing?
I don't have the answers,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's okay.
But I know that there's certain questions that we can ask our membership to identify where should we focus on, right? Because I know what I'm doing, but what are the commonalities?
So utilizing the current members more.
Utilizing the current members
Surveying
to
you guys more.
Learn about them and see where it is that what problem is this solving, and how do we get to people with that problem to help them solve the problem, right?
Yep.
So and then also asking members, hey, who do you know that fits this so that's.
Do you know 5 people in your Rolodex that would be great members here that we could connect with? You could connect us with?
I mean, I try to bring everybody
I know.
here just because I want them to, experience this.
But there you go. No, these 5 people will like just benefit from this so much. And bring a benefit.
Yeah, I do. I have some amazing clients.
Yeah.
Like, I have some really, really awesome people that I know. And yeah, there's a few people that I know that would really benefit from the space. And
have they been here?
There's 2 people that have not been here that I can think of right now that need to come here. but they will.
Yeah. I know personally where my greatest failure is right now that we're fixing. We're in the solution of it. And you're hinting towards it. And it's so we're building out our sales funnel and process.
Okay, yeah.
And so we're actually in the process of killing one of our CRMs and onboarding another CRM.
Okay, cool.
And then we have this full flow of automation that we've been working on for the last 3 weeks. That's going to just like, because it's so we have like a massive pipeline of lead flow, but it bottlenecked in the process of actually transferring and qualifying. Like any, you just don't know the process of how to do that until you actually like start measuring. So the last 6 months, I've literally just been measuring data. Measuring data.
Yes, I'm glad we're talking about this because it's so important.
You have to measure data, and you have to measure it daily, and numbers never lie.
Yes.
And one of the key principles of what I always talk even about is that the cheapest time of conflict is the moment you discover it.
Correct.
Right? And you go, all right, and then I'm going to immediately go through this.
Yep.
One of the greatest blessings that's happened to me was I've had I had some serious cash get drawn out of my hands. It's into other assets that I own, but just how things... And so it's put me back into a serious startup mode of like, this you got to stand up. Like we got to get serious on this. You got to stop burning. And sometimes it's like you go from success to success, and you need to remind yourself what it's like to not have anything.
Yep.
Right.
That's
because dude, straight up young entrepreneur. I was making $2,000 in the year that first year as an artist. I worked because there was there was no plan B. And so, when you put your back up against the wall, that's when things get a lot of fun because you go, all right, now we're going to crank this thing and we're going to get more efficient, more effective. Our systems are going to start flowing through because we just absolutely need
have
it.
to. Yes.
Right?
I would, that is what I would attribute my success in insurance to is that my back was against the wall. I was in a position where I left the company where I was at, but I didn't have significant savings. And I had to pay my mortgage. I had to, figure it out. And I was in a position where I was 100% commissioned for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And so I worked and I made it work, and it was awesome. Yeah. And I really learned about what I was capable of. Because before then I would be very cautious. And I was just balls to the wall, just full throttle, right? Yep. And unforgiving because I had to be. And that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
you have to.
This has to win.
This has to happen.
This has to win. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the biggest thing is our product is second to none right now. Mm-hmm. I know that because the data I'm getting, people are saying they're leaving competing spaces that go, this is what I thought I was getting when I was over here. I found you through X. And you just go, and that's probably the hardest thing is just we have a great product. When do you pull the trigger to market, right? And this is just me, encouraging you. You go, you know what? I have to have this system because you have paralysis through analysis very easily. Yep. And that's why you have to be I have to keep moving, but I got to make sure I'm moving in the next key initiative. Yep. And that was, do I have the bucket to hold everything coming through, or is everything going to go stale right here? I'm going to waste all this money marketing by not being able to actually service my need. And how many customers can I actually buy? Mm-hmm. Which is how many customers can I actually service with my current team and staff, and what's my actual trajected growth, But does that make sense or no?
It makes sense, but I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs, they just need to get after it and do it. There's a balance between being strategic and really planning ahead and just doing it.
You have to get it out
and getting after it, right? Because there's been a lot of times where I've been in a position where I literally had no clue what the hell I was doing.
You just got to fire it.
And I just got after it.
But you got to get ready first. And then you fire it. No, seriously, you have to get ready. Now, getting ready.
Set, aim, fire.
Ready, fire, aim.
Ready, fire, aim.
Is a book that's out there. I guess it's a similar principle. I've never read it. But you have to, it's like building a slingshot. This is what I taught one of my newest team members that's coming on, is I'm going to go build a slingshot. How am I going to build it? I'm going to build it with materials I'm finding on the ground, right? So I have to first get ready. So I have to grab the wood, grab a stick, that's a Y, so I have to search for it, find the why. Then I have to find the rubber band. So maybe it's in my pocket or something, or and I have to build it. And then I have to find the stone that I'm actually going to fire, right? This is the dance of entrepreneurship, is knowing the sequence of when you do this. So you build the stick, you pull it back, it breaks. You build the stick, you pull it back because you fix it, you just fire it. You see where it hit, and then you go measure where it hit. And then you tie it in. And that's the mystery, and that's what takes it from like it's only experience that gets you to do that faster.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
So because there's a lot of people that'll just think about, oh, well, maybe the stick is here, maybe the stick, and then they don't even go search and look at where the
sanding the stick, like they're polishing the stick up. They don't know how strong it is. They're not even picking the stick up.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
They're looking at a lot of times. They're looking at all these different sticks. They're like, well, I can see a stick from here and I can see it from there, but they don't start walking towards
exactly.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
So it's But however, if you don't take the time to just settle down and think about it too, you can use up a lot of energy going all around it. So it's a balance. Yeah. There's between, really getting after it and just being intentional or taking the time to like just.
Well, it's like dancing. It really is like dancing. Sometimes you fall. Sometimes you step on your partner's toes. Sometimes you just don't know how to do it and you're trying the best you can. And that's why you ask for help. You find out, hey, this isn't a task for me. It's sitting on our objectives for far too long.
I know.
Let's find a who.
Yes.
Let's find somebody to get this off our plate. And you have to, right? You just have to find a who sometimes, and you just do the best you can with what you have. And if you can't do it, you can't do it.
But a lot of times it's like getting after it yourself because you can't manage something that you haven't done. So like for me, I have no business going out and getting agents unless I have developed a process in order to help make sure that they're successful.
Or hire the right person that's done it.
Exactly. Yeah. For, in my line of business, it's like you learn a lot through experience. And so I can't, hire an appointment setter and have them, tell them, hey, you have to set 15 appointments when I don't know what the action is required to do that, right?
You got to build the system.
Yeah.
That's why it's the crawl, walk, run.
Yeah.
Right?
Crawl, walk, run. Yeah, that's something you
crawl,
use
walk,
in my
run.
company,
Crawl, that's from good to great. I quote it all the time.
Good.
Yeah, it's a great thing. So that's awesome. This is a podcast. Did you enjoy yourself?
I loved it. Yes.
Let's tell everyone how they can get a hold of you. Do you have your handle on Instagram, your website, all that stuff?
Yeah. So you guys can follow me at The Powerful Paola on Instagram. You can also reach me at Paola at R as in Rodriguez wealthgroup.com. So that's Paola at rwealthgroup.com.
What type of insurance do you do? We didn't even get into that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We forgot.
So
what was your niche? You specialize in?
I specialize in helping entrepreneurs in their 30s that are wanting to build a legacy and wealth for their families. Typically, they've been in business 3 to 5 years, and typically they they're married. They typically have a family, and they're lawyers, mechanic shops, and real estate professionals usually.
Got it.
So that's my niche, and usually what I'm able to help people with is saving money on their health insurance.
Yeah.
But really the big thing that I love is being an instrument to building their wealth, to helping them with wealth building.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your time. If you fit that avatar, check her out. She's awesome. Again, my name is Jeremy Vanderloop. I am the founder and CEO of Cress. This is our Let's Get Coffee podcast with Paola Rodriguez. If you're around Tampa, come visit us. If not, just visit us online. Give us a like, a share, whatever you want. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. See ya.
Thank you.